Because you find a lot of teachers come into the remote communities and don't know anything about this hearing loss, and all they do is just growl at the kid. And at the end of their time there, the kid hates them, you know, because they're always getting growled at by them. And they don't know that because the kid has got hearing problems. Whereas if they had it in service or inductions or even as part of a unit at uni, then that would, you know, that would prepare them and make their job a lot easier as well. Because it's very hard in the classroom if the non-Indigenous teacher don't know anything about it. It puts more pressure on the Aboriginal teaching assistant in the class, and you know, more pressure on her to deal with these Aboriginal kids because they don't know, the teacher don't know what's going on and why they're being naughty.
So they're caught in the middle.
That's right. Yep. And we're always in the middle of the child, the home, the school, the community. And you always tend to find the Indigenous kids always are drawn towards us because they feel safer with us and they can tell us things that in ways that we can understand what they're saying, and when we talk back to them, they know what we're saying.
And there's lots of research that shows that when Indigenous kids with hearing loss are supported by Indigenous people in classroom, they don't have so many problems.
That's right, yep.
So it's really important to have that.
Yep.
And I'm sure this video, it only said what you already know from having experienced it. But I could tell that having hearing it said from outside, that had brought up a lot of feelings.
Yes.
Can you tell us about those feelings?
Yeah, well, as a child, and if you got a hearing problem and you can't hear the kids, you feel like you're alone. You're the only person with that problem, and makes you feel like you're an outsider. You can't join in any activities or any games they're playing because of your hearing. And it does alienate you and make you feel very lonely at times, and you know, it couldn't make you or break you. You know, if you feel sad all the time about because you got no friends and people don't want to be friends with you because you can't hear or because you talk too loud or you're constantly talking all the time, and you know, they think, oh well, think you adjusted, you like to be the boss, talk all the time. How about letting someone else talk? But you know, they don't realize, like the video was saying, some kids who got hearing problems like to talk, and then you get some kids who just sit there quiet.
So the video is in some ways telling your story, but from a different...
That's it.
And you were feeling that...
Because as a child I was very lonely, when, especially like, you know, being around my sisters and my cousin sisters, and they all was laughing and joking and carrying on, and I couldn't hear what was going on, and you know, why are you guys laughing? And it's actually true, I thought they were whispering and talking about me, saying bad things, you know. But they were talking regular, but it's just that I couldn't hear them. And sometimes when it gets like that, you know, and then you go back, I used to go back home in tears sometimes, and I used to go play over, and my mom used to say, what's wrong with you? Stop being a baby, cry baby, you know. I said, but so-and-so said this to me, or they was pointing at me, or teasing me, you know. Ah, look, get over it, teasing is part of life, you know. They tell you like that, but she didn't understand that. Because of my hearing, I was getting teased and called horrible names because they knew I couldn't hear them, see. But like I sort of learned from reading their lips, but they were saying bad things about me and the way they look at you and point at you, and you know. And it can be a very lonely place to be. And it's like, because in Indigenous culture, if you're different from them, you're different, and they'll make you know, they'll let you know that you are different from them. And they're straightforward, they'll tell you things straight out to your face. So, but yeah, but then when I went away and grew up in my teenage years and had my ears fixed, you know, I felt a lot better, because you know, I could communicate more with people, whereas before I used to just stand back, stay in the back, you know, wasn't the leader, I was a follower.
But now you're the leader.
But now I'm a leader now, and so, you know, it made me feel good about myself, and then I sat down and said, oh well, now my hearing's fixed and I can hear, now it's my turn to set my head down and do my studies and make something of my life, you know. And then I did that all through high school, and it was good. At the end of the day, when I graduated from year 12, it was a good feeling, because back in those days you hardly had Indigenous students graduating past year 10. But it was good, and you know, I went to uni and did my teacher's degree and got my bachelor diploma in teaching, and so that way I see it, me giving back to my community by helping the Indigenous kids with hearing problems and or any kind of medical problem in the education system.
Yep. And I think, you know, that the fact that you got through your secondary schooling and went on to teacher education and succeeded through that, because you would have had to have worked lots harder.
Very hard, yep. Work harder than the next person.
Yep, and it would have been, you know, particularly when that teaching was all through talking,
yep.
That would have been really hard.
Really listening to lecturers talk.
How are the ways that you succeeded in your teacher training? What are the things that helped you?
Well, I actually had a good tutor. So just by having the tutor, you know, she'd sit across the table from me and I could see her face. And she was sitting close to me so I could hear her a bit. And so she helped me a lot. And so I credit my diploma to my tutor. If it wasn't for her, I would have had a different tutor who didn't understand about, you know. I probably wouldn't have graduated.
And reading, not so much going to lectures, but, you know, reading and talking to your tutor, those things really helped?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Because my tutor was actually living in the same community as me, so she didn't have to be brought in to tutor me. So I would have a bit of every day, an hour, 2 hours with her every day. And so I sort of knew she was my tutor for about 3 years, and I knew her by the end of the 3 years. I knew her well, so I knew what she was thinking, or what she was gonna say to me, or.
So all that, having a really strong developed relationship with your tutor.
That's right.
That was a really important thing.
And that's what we need in schools, to have that good relationship between the teacher and the students.
And that's why having Indigenous people being, because they're the people who got to stay there and develop that relationship.
Teachers come and go,
Yeah. So you know, your accomplishment in doing what you've done is even greater, because you've done it despite having that hearing loss and having, you know, how that would have affected all your primary schooling. That would have made it really hard for you. So the fact that you've done so well and accomplished so much despite that means that it's even a bigger accomplishment.
That's right, and it makes me feel good inside that, you know, I did do this by myself and with the help of my tutor, and you know, I showed everybody else. You know, people used to say to me, you're not gonna be anybody, you got no ears, you never listen, you know. But I proved those people wrong. And that's why I'm very passionate about Indigenous education, and I do everything, you know. That's why I wanted to go to Teachers College and become a teacher, so I could help the Indigenous kids better their lives. And to have a decent education where they can actually learn something and be good role models for the next generation of the Indigenous kids that's coming up, you know.
And I think you are a great role model, and you're really good at expressing those things that you've experienced in ways that make it really clear for people.
And they should, I mean, Indigenous people should never be ashamed of anything, even if they can't hear. You know, there's other people in the world that's worse off than not hearing.
So I think, as well as being a great role model for Indigenous people, you're a great educator for non-Indigenous teachers in training them, and I think what you've been talking about today is going to help in that. Because I think your story tells about how it can be overcome.
That's right.
And you're drawing on that experience that you had as making you a stronger person in helping other people.
That's right, yep.
So those painful things that you experienced as a child is helping you to help children now.
That's right, to help other kids, and I know what the signs are now, and you know, and then it gives me an opportunity to help the other Indigenous kids now, because I know as an educator it's very hard for them to learn anything they can't hear. And especially if they just go on being untreated, it's going to affect them worse when they become adults. And it's like terrible, it makes you feel really sad when you can't help them, you know. That's why I wanted to become a teacher, so I can help Indigenous kids and parents.
Thanks for sharing your story. It's a really strong story.
That's okay. It's been good. I enjoyed this little session today. I might come back tomorrow.
do come back tomorrow.